My name is Kisae Petersen. I'm the Executive Director of iWave, Islanders Working Against Violence.
And my name is Janine Fernandes-Hayden. I am the Executive Director of the Circle Salt Spring Education Society.
This film has been created on the unceded traditional territory of the Halkominum and Tsimshian-speaking peoples. We acknowledge that colonial power has stolen land, culture, and opportunities from these first peoples, and that systemic barriers and oppression continue today. It is the responsibility of all Canadians to know these truths, to listen to the stories, and to stand up and take action for social justice and Indigenous rights.
Since 1977, March 8th has been marked as a significant day. It is a day to acknowledge women who have paved the way throughout history, socially, politically, culturally, and economically, so that future generations of women could realize their full potential. On this day, we take pause to celebrate these actions and achievements, big and small, documented or never spoken, all the ways that women have promoted change. Today is a day that belongs to every woman. The headliners, yes, but also our grandmothers, our mothers, our sisters, daughters, wives, and all the women in our everyday lives who play a role in shaping and forming our communities and families. And it is a day that doesn't belong just to women. It belongs to every one of us, because change requires a collective effort, and because we need to be inspired together to forge ahead with the work that still lies ahead of us.
International Women's Day 2021 has the theme Choose to Challenge. This is a call to action to raise one's voice and to speak truth to power, to challenge systems of inequity, gender discrimination, violence, and racism. Together, we can forge a path forward that is inclusive and respectful to all beings, on a national level and also in our own community of Salt Spring Island.
Now, choosing to challenge can feel really daunting, but it's important to remember that in choosing to address inequities and disparities, it starts in little ways, in the ways that we talk, in the ways that we think, and the ways that we act, to create a ripple effect that can benefit everyone. At the Circle, our preventive programs work with youth to help them to build trust, build empathy, unpack stereotypes, and challenge assumptions so that they can meet each other without judgment, with a sense of humility and shared humanity. This is the work that can challenge us all and that we can all choose to do for ourselves.
This year for International Women's Day, a creative collective has emerged to bring together local voices of women to share their wisdom, talent, and lived experience.
We know that the performing arts have been hit particularly hard by the pandemic, and at a time when we might need them more than ever, because it is the arts that pulls us down into our hearts and brings us together in thought, in idea, and in feeling, to share our anger, our sadness, our hopes, in ways that can mobilize us to begin to consider change. We can't physically be together today. However, choosing to challenge is also about being innovative. And so we bring you this emotional experience in a different way, in hopes that it can make you feel connected, that it can fill you, and that it can help you to feel inspired to challenge inequities in big ways and in small, in your thoughts, in your actions, and in your words.
International Women's Day to me means It's a day to celebrate the women who have helped other women, mostly just the world, like anybody, but also just to celebrate girls and women just across the world just for being who they are.
Yeah, I think it's just a day of appreciation, really. So it's kind of what I feel like when on the day. There's like a couple of years in the past I did a thing where I asked people to just like tell me the name of a woman who inspires you, and then I drew them. But like that's as far as I've gone with it, really.
But I think that it is a good day to have those who aren't women or don't have many women close to think about all the women in their lives and appreciate them because they create life, essentially.
It just means to me like a day that women can sort of celebrate each other and celebrate gathering together. And I don't think that means necessarily like women who were born with a vagina or anything. I think it means anybody who does identify as a woman.
I choose to challenge people to show up as their true selves. My name's Doriana. I've been a teacher for 10 years, and I've spent those 10 years terrified of students. Still am. But no, I really actually am, because what they do is they constantly challenge me to show up as I am, and they're constantly redefining things, which is a scary thing to face all the time. I'm just going to introduce one of my current students before I tell a little story about one of my former students.
My name is Azlan Coffey, and even though Doriana is scared of her students, I think she still likes me a lot better than most of them.
Yeah, so there was a student named Trevor that I had quite a few years ago, and Trevor started to show up to school wearing fishnet tights and short skirts, and started to change their name and go by Alessandra. So Trevor was transitioning from male to female. And you know, a few weeks went by, and nobody was really saying anything about it. And I took her aside and I said, how are you doing? And she's just like, I'm fine. Well, how are you really doing? I'm fine. And I was like, well, what's new? Nothing. I'm like, well, what about the fact that, you know, you've changed your name? You know, like, I'm now calling you Alessandra instead of Trevor. Like, how's that going for you? And, you know, at first she got tense and sort of sweaty and nervous. And then we had like a really good conversation about what that was like to identify as a different gender, how that was received by her family and friends. And then, you know, a few weeks or months went by, and then Alessandra took me aside to the same room and sat me down and was like, so how are you doing? And I said, I'm fine. Well, how are you really doing? I'm fine. What's new? Nothing really. Well, what about the fact that you just told us that you're married to a woman? Like, when we never knew that before. You know, like, you just came out to the whole school. And then I got all like sweaty and nervous, and then we had a good conversation about how that was received and how that felt. And I think back to that story a lot because I know that it's my students who give me, it's the youth that really give me the courage to show up as who I am. This is the first year since I've been teaching for 10 years that I introduced myself to my students as a queer woman. And I know I get that courage from my students, even though I know it was the work of our ancestors. I know it's the work of feminism that has given us this freedom, that has made us, this generation, so liberated to create so many redefinitions of how we define our identity. And so I thought I would give Azlan a moment to respond how you feel about that as well.
Yeah, well, what you're saying is, I agree with it fully. Getting the courage from people that are younger than you is, I experienced that as well. And I just think about how in the past, these women have risen up for what's right and for like the courage that it takes. And it's also affecting the future generations, even our future generations, because when they rise up and when we rise up, we're challenging the future to rise above that and rise even higher. Mm-hmm. And even though I identify as non-binary, I still feel a connection to women of the past, women of the future, and women of the present, because even though I'm not a girl, I still want to help women in the future. I want to fight for women's rights. Mm-hmm. So in the classroom, when you're teaching, I think that connection I make to you is calling you out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think the commitment I have in choosing to challenge and to be challenged is to just be really aware and appreciative of the fact that everything I do now, has implications for the future. Like the things I do, the fighting I do to be free, to be seen as who I am, even though it's really frustrating at times because it's often easier to just show up in the way that people expect you to. That's easier, it's docile, it's easier to control when you're just a quiet, non-challenging person. And so I have to remember that even though it might make my present life more difficult to show up in that way, it's freeing people in the future. And it's also what's freed me to be that way now. And to always remember that also with the youth as they challenge me to always remember that they're teaching me. They're teaching me the new way that we can be. Yeah. I guess something my mom always says is you have to, don't change the child to fit the program, change the program to fit the child. So it's sort of thinking of that in just how we show up in the world. If a person isn't showing up in a way, it's like trying to fit the square peg into the round hole. It's like these kids are telling us to change the hole, not the peg. Right?
Yeah. And saying that, it just makes me realize that you don't have to go to big protests in big cities, especially with what's going on now, but it's the little things that you do, like me calling out my teacher when my teacher subconsciously says something.
I don't keep bringing that up, calling that.
Well, you keep bringing it up. But it's the little things that I do that
yeah.
It still helps. I'm still fighting for what's right, even though it's just in a tiny classroom on a tiny island.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you.
In some ways, it sounds a bit like cliche. I try to challenge the norms for a woman. So what's expected of a woman or the stereotypes, I guess, in body hair, trying to challenge being the view of a woman being this smooth, silky woman when we're mammals and we have hair. So I think that's one thing that I do challenge in my day-to-day life is just expressing my womanhood while still having hair, which I have. So why not express it and, be proud of it?
I just want the world to feel safe and feel like you don't have to hide anything to feel like you can be yourself. I want to be able to go to any part of the world and just kiss a woman or kiss a man or wear whatever I want without being looked at like I'm trying to ask for something that I'm not. And I just want this world to be a safe place for anybody to just live in. And I want to challenge all of that.
Well, gender roles, I guess. And like just the concept of clothing being gendered and names and pronouns and all that is something that I try and work against. I'm not super vocal about it, and I'm not like I don't talk about it a lot, but just in my own way and my own presentation and the way that I interact with other people, I try and like plant seeds of like, yeah, denormalizing names meaning certain things and stuff like that.
What do you think, Piper? You gonna pick up those balls? Okay, we're gonna do this together. Okay. And should we juggle these balls of life? What happens if they fall? Okay. Ready? I was going the wrong way. Think we can do it? For real? Oh no, it's hot. The balls are getting hot. I can't handle them. What are we gonna do, Mahon? Should we pick them up or leave them for someone else? The woman's job is never done. Got it. Back it up. All right, Piper. Mahon, do you believe we could do this with really solid intensity of a woman's day? Ready? Here it is. We're representing, nothing other than the way circus will take on the challenging, the representation of those who feel like being seen and heard despite their quiet of the past. Piper, you're a talented clown. Why are people so afraid of clowns? Piper, what are we gonna do? Okay, so every time we drop these, we pick them up? Yeah. So we don't stop trying?
Don't.
I got it. Ow, ow. What if it hurts? What if it feels like no one is paying attention to how challenging it is? Okay. What if there is something better? I feel like we got it. Thank you for throwing my arms up in the air like that. You want to stop yet? No. Okay, ready? How about now? Should we throw it at... I know, I see patriarchy. Boom! Run! Hey, Piper.
Yeah,
How you doing?
good.
I love you.
I love you too.
I'm really glad you're my kid.
Thank you.
Thanks for choosing me. I was wondering about the time that you were called angry, or that you were told that you had anger issues. Remember, we came up with scenarios of what you could say back?
Yeah.
What was it? Do you remember? You've got anger issues. What were you going to say back?
I might have anger, but I don't. But you've got the issues.
That's right. When you were told that you have anger issues, were you saying something very important that they didn't want to hear, or were you saying something angry and mean?
I was saying something that
like they needed to understand.
Yeah. And so by calling you angry, it's a way of being quiet. It's asking you to be quiet. And did you stay quiet?
No.
I'm proud of you. Sometimes it's hard. So as a mom, I feel like I'm constantly figuring out what I'm able to say without disabling my children's hope or making them feel angry at their gender or other people because of their gender. Although I also want them to understand that they have privilege and also that where they're oppressed. And if we were all self-aware, I really feel like that self-awareness is the thing that we have as a power to change. And starting a circus program with the friends that are also like-minded, we're able to work with children and figure out how they want to express themselves in a way that is not necessarily always promoted. So finding an inner voice that is actually encouraged to be outside of what we're raised to believe is the voice of reason. So I'm pretty angry, and I'm told that anger is too much. And when I have a resting face, it's called a resting bitch face, and I find that all of those things are ways to put me in my place and to be quiet. And no matter how hard I try to be quiet, I can't. So my challenge is, my choice to challenge is to continue to have uncomfortable conversations, self-reflect, and encourage others to maybe to do the same.
I choose to challenge the ways in which I forget to be reverent to this earth and to the cycles of life that are in all women and in the feminine.
It is our responsibility to dance, to embody the essence of our true divinity. In our souls, we are all dancers, healers, singers, and creators. We all have something powerful to say, to give. When we are in tune with the rhythms of the earth, with our inner rhythm, we know how to walk on the edge of time and worlds. Earth, Mother, the deep support underneath our own feet. Woman, the mystical force from which we all come. Earth, who nourishes us, who hosts us unconditionally. woman, the life giver, the peacemaker, and the portal to the other side.
When I first heard the theme for this year's International Women's Day, Choose to Challenge, I was immediately irritated. It pissed me off, but I wasn't sure why. I dismissed this feeling, shook it off, doing what I usually do when irksome feelings like this arise in my mind and body. But I have, over the course of my life in this body, brown and cisgendered female as it is, I've learned to pay closer attention to those icky feelings, that bitter taste in my mouth. I used to ignore it, shrug it off, chalk it up to dents in pride or personal ineptitude, shame of incompetence, or impatient frustration. But I've learned that most of that is my well-practiced and very efficient way of internalized gaslighting. I've internalized the self-deception to survive. Not anymore. Now I ask myself, why? Why does it feel gross or wrong? Why does it wake the seeds of anger in my belly when I hear these simple words in relation to a day celebrating feminism? Is it a prideful trigger or something deeper? The term microaggressions was not defined when I was growing up. There was no label for those conditional compliments I received, the veiled and decorated racism, the sugar-coated misogyny, where smiles and measured compliance was the only form of acceptable reaction. So now, when I feel those feelings that had no name, I stop, I look, and I uncover. Choose to challenge. Choose to challenge. If you squeeze it, this theme drips privilege out of its seams. The seemingly straightforward message is simply asking us to do something. Well, fuck you. Who are you asking? It better not be me. I know who you're speaking to here. You're listening right now. But really, we're asking those that have already had a space carved out for them. It fits, it's comfy, it might not be empowered or free, but it's comfortable and looks and feels nice. It's mostly an aspiration, a destination, but truly it's a fleeting apparition. It's called proximity to power. Here and now in this world, that power looks, dresses, and acts all alike. It's a conformity, hetero, white, affluent, and male. So the closer you can get to that, the more you can thin yourself to be translucent, to be seen as the same, so when the world looks at you, they see the power through your skin. It's tempting. and most of us comply and adjust in some ways to gain access and status, at least if not now, at other times in our lives. I don't know about you, but I no longer will stand for it. The choice to challenge, the fact that some get to choose what the fuck. For a long time, this challenge they speak of, they ask of us, is no longer a choice, and for so many, it has never even been one. That is what pisses me right off. Some have the choice to keep doing what is easy, what has seemed to work in their favor, that's placed them above. Above who? On whose backs do you stand? The ones that have privilege to choose are the ones who have the absolute duty to make the choice to challenge, to challenge the status quo, the solidarity and silence that upholds the oppressive systems as they stand, until they choose to go against the path of least resistance, to no longer be part of the flotilla on the lazy river of life, until they realize that even though it's hard and exhausting and frustrating, they need to continue to paddle against the current. If enough of us do, if more join, the combined effort may shift the tides. But we won't know until enough of those that directly benefit from the way it is see that they are still making great sacrifices with their comfort, that those that irk them, that light the seeds of anger in their belly, the things that they have brushed off and dismissed their whole lives, these are most likely the things that are gravely wrong, smothered in injustice, things that many other people in many other places, people with less power and influence, have been fighting for decades, for centuries. We should all strive to recreate the culture so that when each day begins, it is no longer a challenge to hold the space, receive respect, and maintain dignity we all deserve. If we succeed, we may find that it is simply here now. How many of the comfortable are listening? How many of society's stakeholders are here actually listening? Stop asking me to do the work. Stop creating and maintaining the paradigm we are forced to make the choice between acceptance, success, and power, or freedom.
I choose to challenge the expectation that I remain silent. So a few months ago, I received a package in the mail. It looked really sweet. It had my name and handwriting. There were stickers on it, and I figured it was a friend who'd sent me a package in the mail. I opened it up, and in front of my kids, and I was overcome. It was actually a whole bunch of material, anti-Semitic material, and I lost it. I didn't know. It took me a while to gather myself back up and to try to tell my kids what they'd just witnessed happening. So the next thing I did is I shared this package that I got. I shared the story of this on social media, and I got really, really wonderful, positive, supportive responses from my community and my friends far and wide, who, like me, thought this was not acceptable. But when I did that, I also heard from 4 other women in my community that got the same letter, all Jewish women, all mothers or grandmothers, and I found that we all found it really disturbing that this was still happening, and it's happening in our community. So we took it a little further, and we shared it broader with the local newspaper. And again, very supportive community members coming back. I take it really seriously that I have a role to play. I have a voice, and I can use it in positive ways. And so I have a responsibility as a mother to talk to my kids about what happened, and also I choose to use that as much as I can through my work as an arts administrator and whose voice gets heard, and then I get a chance to put that in my music as well. So at the time I was working on this song, Tree, which the song wasn't really working, and I took my anger and my frustration with that experience, and I put it into this song. I rewrote it with new words and a new key that spoke far more deeply to who I am. My grandfather planted a tree. He watered it well, so tenderly. He kept it from harm. Did he do that for me? My grandfather planted a tree. My father, he grew with that tree. Branches and limbs, new elbows and knees. He changed with the seasons, he turned with the leaves. My father, he grew with that tree. But I walked from the shade of that tree, far as my feet would carry me. Bathed in the sunlight of sweet reverie, I walked from the shade of that tree. My daughter comes asking of me, where are the stories of our canopy? The marks of the heartwood, where would these be? My daughter comes asking of me. My mind's eye I turn to the tree, fruit on the vine, harvest to be. The seasons have ravaged, they've scattered the seeds, but I lean on the roots of this tree.
I choose to challenge the colonizer's notion of my sexuality. The culture that I come from is a colonized culture, and they colonized our vaginas. First, they used missionaries. Then they used doctors. Then they used polite society. Colonization dismissed family violence as part of the culture. So nothing was done. Not by teachers, anyone. When the exact same thing happened to a non-colonized girl, suddenly meetings happened and seriousness ruled. Message received, loud and clear, by all parties. The terror of waiting for him to come home is at the root of all of my anxiety. That and the sound of him undoing his belt, getting ready to beat me. Based on the research I have done when little girls are hit when they are bent over, the blood rushes to our vaginas, and we associate sex with pain. It took me a long time to get comfortable with men sexually. My vagina became a non-gina, which was fine because I never had a date anyway. But it wasn't just me. All brown vaginas were non-ginas. Brown ginas have their own tale to tell. My brown gina shares a genetic memory with other brown ginas. We remember being slaves. We remember being indentured servants. We remember being populations of invaded countries. We remember being used by soldiers from all sides of the war. We remember being detained. We remember being arrested. we remember being incarcerated. We know what happens then. Brown-gine is no cruelty. Somehow being brown matters. Brown-ginas are disposable. Certainly, brown-ginas are not vaginas. Then, in the 1970s, we went from being invisible, like black hole invisible, to being exotic. Then we were highly visible, like through a telescopic lens visible. Then we were sought after, like leopard skin. And it was so sudden, almost like it was fashionable, a fad. I've had the distinction of being the darkest woman they've ever had so many times. I invented the term ethnoticization, and it was always a heart dropping through the floor moment when it happened. Brown-ginas know what I mean. Sometimes all you were was a brown-gina skinned rug to someone. But the tale I really want to tell is the queer brown-gina tale. Because you see, colonization is also heteronormative. Brown-ginas generally do not know the queer language. They may never even know it exists, and they may never care. But my brown-gina knew it was weird from early on, even if I didn't. When I finally caught on, half of my family hadn't. So I lost kin. Actually, I lost skin. Because you see, all brown-ginas are sisters. It doesn't matter if you don't come from the same place. You all experience the dominant paradigm in the same way. You always have each other's backs because you know no one else does. So when my own family brown-ginas told me without words that my brown-gina was wrong, I lost skin. I lost skin, but found myself.
I choose to challenge white privilege, and I am performing a song called Stolen, which I wrote to honor missing and murdered Indigenous women. I don't want no trouble. I don't want no pain. So I'm gonna keep moving. Will you do the same? I'm a white privileged woman, and you're a white privileged man. And it's hard to imagine if you don't give a damn. Oh doctor, give me all you got, so I can keep moving and never look back. Imagine your sister, a daughter, a wife, a woman goes missing, and the world doesn't stop. How many more will it take? It's murder, and their blood is on our hands. How many more will it take before we do what's right? It's murder, and their blood is on our hands. We've stolen a nation whose colonization brought its civilization right to the brink. Oh mother, show us the way to stop rape and pillage of your sacred space. How many more will it take before we do what's right? It's murder, and their blood is on our hands. How many more will it take before we do what's right? It's murder, and their blood is on our hands.
I really like to challenge people's expectations of me because I feel like I get a lot of expectations put on me, and challenging them empowers me, which I think is the best thing that you can do when faced with a challenge, is like face it head on and become empowered by it and overcome it.
I've wanted to challenge myself to be a bit more brave and be a bit more kind and look at the world from a different point of view in regards to women's rights and my own rights.
I challenge myself the most. Not only that I cause obstacles for myself, but that I need to overcome my own self-confidence and my own security in my decisions.
I have been thinking a lot about the nervous system, and I am choosing to challenge productivity, keeping up, and the feeling of doing anything out of should or obligation, not out of inspiration and things that can maintain a sense of a calm nervous system. Oh, hi, wow. It's really nice to see you. I wasn't expecting you. Well, I wasn't expecting anyone actually, but I'm really glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. Please stay. I could get you something. Yeah. Tea. Yeah, let's have tea. Oh my gosh, it's such a good idea, and it's so easy to make. It's cooked water with flavor. You know, I love flavor in tea, like mint. I have mint, yeah, rooibos. What would you like? Do you want Earl Grey with bergamot? Oh my gosh, yes. That would be like caffeinated. I hope that's okay, because we could talk a lot and we could stay up all night talking, and it would be so much fun. Or I know, fenugreek. Yes, let's do fenugreek, because fenugreek, I heard it helps you smell good, but I'm not trying to say you smell bad. No, I'm not trying. No, actually, I smell. No, I'm not trying to. Just fenugreek tea is good. It's good. Nothing. nothing. That's nothing. Go away. I have a guest here. Can you not see that? You've had my attention all morning, and I'm trying to make a friend. Can you just go the fuck away? No, not you. Not you. No, you can stay. We can have tea. It will be nice, and it will be so nice. We can have tea like fenugreek. I was gonna make tea. Go away, you stupid little shit! No, not you. You don't have to go anywhere. I was just talking to it was my man. Just, no, not you. Please don't go. Look, you have to go. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I get it. Yep. I have to go too, actually. Well, I know I live here, but I have to do stuff. I'm busy. I'm actually busy. Yep, busy. I have to water that and fix and clip and scrub this and take out well, it's just that I'm really busy, actually, and you better go because I've got stuff I have to do, and so we can just, you go. You just go. Also, no, we could do tea another time, maybe? That'd be nice, right?
I choose to step into my fear and lean in with love and respect for all of me. I am unraveling. I am unraveling. I am unraveling all this pain, gently and lovingly, rocking my sweet, sweet soul, releasing the poisons that have caused this pain. Thank you, my Mother Earth, for accepting so graciously, giving so lovingly, so I can renew again and again. I am unraveling. I am unraveling. I am unraveling all this pain, gently and lovingly, rocking my sweet, sweet soul, releasing the poisons that have caused this pain. Thank you, my Mother Earth, for accepting so graciously, giving so lovingly, so I can renew again and again, again and again. Every woman who ever loved a woman, you gotta stand up and call her name. Mama, sister, daughter, love. every woman who ever loved a woman. Mama, hold me in my joy and pain. Mama, walk heavy in my life. Mama labored so that my world could be longer and fuller than hers. I love you, woman. Every woman who ever loved a woman, you gotta stand up and call her name. Mama, sister, daughter, lover, every woman who ever loved a woman. Sister and me fighting hard sometimes. Sister and me playing hide and seek. But when the world moved against me with a disapproving frown, it was sister put the ground back under my feet. I love you, woman. Oh, child, you look a lot like me, but you're stronger and faster and smarter, I see. I hope the world will be ready for you. I love you, woman. Every woman who ever loved a woman, you gotta stand up and call her name. Mama, sister, daughter, lover. Woke up this morning feeling fine, rolled over, kissed a friend of mine. I love you, woman. Every woman who ever loved a woman, you gotta stand up and call her name. Mama, sister,